When to date again after a relationship ends. How long should you wait? And it all depends on several factors. First of all, what type of relationship was it? How long were you together? Who ended the relationship? And a lot of other things. And that's what I'm going to be covering in this video. Let's first look at the type of relationship you were in and why it ended. So here's a couple of questions for you. Were you at the beginning stages of dating? Had you been dating longer than 6 months, a year, many years? Were you living together? Was it a divorce? Were you widowed? All of these have different ways of recovering, healing, and dating again. So I just wanted to kind of cover the broad range of why relationships ended. And the next part of this is who ended the relationship? How did the relationship end? Had there been challenges that were not discussed or that you dismissed? Or had you spoken about issues and nothing really changed over time? Did you feel blindsided by the way the relationship ended? Many experts say that there's like a prescribed amount of time that you need to wait to date again, depending on how long you were in the relationship. I remember Dr. Joy Brown, who I used to listen to on the radio before there were podcasts. And if you're familiar, it was a call-in show, and she had a rule. It was a 1-year rule that if your relationship ended, you have to wait a year to date again. And anytime somebody would call in and say, we've been dating for a while and we had this issue, she'd say, how long did you wait? How long was it since his last relationship? And if it was less than a year, it was just like, see, told you so, this is why. But I don't think it's so black and white, and that's why I disagree. As you can see, there are all kinds of relationships and many ways that relationships end, and all of these factors will determine when you will date again. What I do recommend is before you date, no matter what happened, take some time to heal, even if you were the one who ended it. So I'm going to share 9 tips to help you know when you're ready to date again. The first one is to do a relationship postmortem. And what I mean by this is take some time to really look at the relationship. Even if you are widowed, there are things that were great in a relationship, and there are things that you might do differently next time. So it's really important to really kind of dissect, what do you want to do again? What do you want to take with you into the next dating experience and the next relationship? And what do you want to do differently? What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about men? What have you learned about relationships? Whenever a widow starts working with me, I ask her this question: how was your relationship? Is there anything you'd like to do differently next time? And inevitably, no relationship is perfect. And there are things, and maybe it's the way we show up in dating. Maybe we didn't speak up enough. Whatever it is for you, just take some time to really do that postmortem. The second thing is to practice self-care. A lot of times when relationships are ending or they haven't been good for a while, we've neglected our self-care, whether it's emotional self-care, physical self-care. It's important to pay attention. So whatever that is, this is a great time to just nourish yourself, take time with friends, whatever feels like self-care to you, meditation, get therapy, get coaching, whatever self-care looks like. Number 3 is identify new goals and interests. When you've been in a relationship, especially if it's been a long relationship, sometimes you have neglected your goals or your interests, and you've merged in a relationship with somebody else's goals and interests. And so this is a good time to just take a pause and figure out, what do you want to do? What are your interests? And go do them, because you have time now. The fourth thing is to get comfortable being alone. And this is really important because so many people who have been in a relationship have gotten that hit of dopamine or whatever it is from being together. And it can be uncomfortable to be alone. Even if you were with a spouse and the spouse wasn't well, or you were in a bad relationship, it's still a big change to be by yourself. And so Take some time to get comfortable loving your alone time. Number 5, envision a different future. When you're with somebody, you have a future planned, whether you're conscious of it or not. Even at the beginning stages of dating, you're imagining a future with that person. So envision a different future. This was not the path that turned out to be your future. What else can you envision? Number 6, when you get out there and date again, make sure it's not rebounding. Make sure that it's not for like to get back at your ex, or when you're rebounding and you haven't taken enough time to heal, you can get your heart broken. And so just take a little bit of time to make sure that that's not happening. Number 7, prepare to date with an open heart. And that means that you're just going to be open. You're just going to discover. You're going to not compare every person you meet to the person you were with before, but you're going to be open. And the people who are most open, whether it's letting go of a type, whether it's letting go of anger and resentment, whether it's letting go of sadness and bitterness, open your heart as much as you can, and that can take some healing. Number 8, take some time to get clear about what you want and need now. Again, when you've done the postmortem, you should be clear about what you might have neglected or what you need at this point in your life that you may not have needed at the beginning of the relationship. And number 9, when you get out there and date again, date without expectations. And that's hard to do, but it's kind of tied into the open-heartedness. When you date without, it has to look a certain way, it has to be a certain way, the outcome has to be the one or a perfect fit or whatever it is, try to just get out there and not have it have to be anything. And this is something that I've been discovering as people date in midlife, that there's so much more openness about it doesn't have to look a certain way, especially if you're not dating with a specific goal of marriage or having children. You have much more flexibility, and I encourage you to design your dating life. So when you do date again, design what works for you. If you just want to have fun and have sex or just explore, do that. Learn about yourself through those experiences and take the pressure off of having to find the one or that perfect fit, that life partner. Like, really just enjoy the experience of dating and be honest with yourself and the men you date about what it is you're looking for. If you're looking for casual at this point, that's fine as long as you're honest about it with yourself and the people you date. When relationships end, the future you had planned was disrupted. So it's important to remove the artificial timelines you might have in your head about the right time to date. Hopefully, these tips will help guide you towards figuring it out for yourself, because you're the only one who will know. And healing is not linear. No one's going to be perfectly ready to move on at any given time. When you are self-reflective, you will know when it's time to date again. And you'll be glad you took that time to figure it out for yourself.